Welcome to Non Fungible Guys. I am one of your hosts, Devon C. Codrington. This is a podcast about cryptocurrency, NFTs, and everything in between. I'm joined by my trusty co-host, bro-host, with the most beautiful, beautiful, sexy man voice. His name is...
NFG Ryan. What's going on, everyone?
NFG Ryan, what's going on? And this week, we got some awesome guests. We're joined by Drexler. I love that. It sounds like some sort of like medieval slayer name. Anyways, let's focus here. Drexler and Bobby from
What's
Cardopoly.
up, guys?
Yes,
awesome to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So, Cardopoly. I guess let's just get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Is Cardopoly?
Yeah, so Cardopoly, we're a blockchain gaming project on Cardano, and basically we are building, or we have built a board game using NFTs as game pieces that are tracked in real time. And we have a large scale board, so 1,000 properties, where up to 750 players can compete in real time, not waiting for a turn, not waiting around for people to pay the bank or get out of prison. So it's a real time game. It's global. We have community members from all over the world that are competing and playing. And we're basically kind of paving this path for blockchain gaming on Cardano, and we're one of the first games out right now, which is very exciting.
And Bobby, I'd like to add, these folks play the game for real ADA every week.
I'm interrupting the podcast to bring you a word from our podcast sponsor. The Developer Collective is the very first Web3 developer agency on Cardano that offers the most innovative solutions in a custom white glove service experience. Use the Developer Collective to build your platform, website, or NFT project. The agency comes fully staffed with dedicated developers, designers, and project managers that'll take the technical aspect of things off of your hands. Founded by Nighthawk, the very first recognized project advisor in the Cardano NFT space, and founder of the Crypto Talent Marketplace. But what is the Crypto Talent Marketplace? Well, let me tell you about it. The Crypto Talent Marketplace is the first of its kind talent marketplace, serving as a meeting place for blockchain talent and project teams in need of that talent. The marketplace is currently under development and will launch this summer. All right, cool. Back to the podcast.
Okay, so obviously Cardopoly, like Monopoly, if you're listening, you're like, what? Like, there's the connection. I like to be real obvious. I don't care. There's always someone that's like, what? Oh, cool. Sometimes that person's me. Let's start with some basic questions. How the heck did you think of coming up with the idea? Where did that even start from?
Yeah, so I can take this one. Drex and I and some of our other founders, there's 5 of us total. We were all investors in the CNFT space in December of last year, and we all happened to be kind of heavily aping into this random project that we all ended up getting rug pulled on.
Oh snap!
and we all didn't know each other, but we became kind of brothers in arms through this project. And then after, we just stayed connected, and luckily, between all of us, we all have different skill sets. But Drex is a world-renowned developer, very familiar with blockchain technology, and we were lucky enough to meet this guy. And we kind of put our heads together and said, let's start a project. Let's do something right. Let's show the rest of the Cardano community that it's not just about investing in these silly rug pull projects. And we set out to build something to provide real utility and just something that's really fun for investors. So okay, great, we got this idea, but we didn't really know what to build, and so we kind of brainstormed a bit. I'm one of those guys that has a notepad by my bed, and I always, think about things when I'm sleeping, and I'll wake up and I'll write it down. And
that's cool.
That's just great. Kind of like what I do, both in my work life and in my personal life. Any idea that comes to me in my sleep, I'll write it down. So this idea about making a blockchain Monopoly version. It's not quite like Monopoly, but it's based on that foundation, and we've made sure to definitely keep it different. But it was one of my favorite childhood board games growing up, and I was just kind of dreaming about it the night before we pitched it to the guys, and just seemed like a good idea. Like, what if you could use NFTs as game pieces? What if we could get everyone playing all at once? What if this could be a big, large scale game? And so, I pitched it to the guys. Everyone loved it. We all kind of bonded on that idea, and we set off on that adventure.
That is so cool. So in a nutshell, the idea literally came to you in a dream.
Yeah. Now for me, it's just an idea, right?
Right.
Where Drex comes in, we created this live streaming technology where, it literally shows people moving around the board in real time. He also was one of the first 3 developers on Cardano to create a multi-sig minting pipeline. So
whoa, Bobby, whoa, slow, hold your horses. I definitely, I want to talk about that in like crazy detail after, but I was like, maybe we should like ease them into it for a bit. Cause I was like, Ryan and I were talking and, we were in the, I think the first time I heard about it was in the live earlier this week. Right.
Yeah.
And I wrote a note and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? How did this happen? So we're like, okay, we're definitely have to ask those guys, but like, we'll get to that in a second. Maybe we'll even pull back as to, because we kind of jump forward before we usually talk about the question of like, how do we know you guys? Right. So how did we get connected in this space? Like I actually I feel like I just heard about you guys and then I came into the live and it was like, yeah, it was all this like kind of like proxy knowing, but like, how did you actually like get here on the podcast?
Yeah. So, like you guys, I invest personally in other projects. And one of those projects that is dear to both Drex and I's heart is Ugly Bros. Yeah. And, obviously Serge is a local guy and I've met up with him for lunch and dinner and stuff before. And, just shooting the shit. And he invited me to come to Collision Conference, which was a big tech conference in Toronto.
Yeah.
So I made my way down there on the GO train, like we do in the
nice
city, right? And
represent Toronto, the GO train. Yeah, I like that we're having. Last week we had Serge on, so this is like the summer Toronto edition.
Yes,
love it.
Non Fungible Guys. I love it.
So yeah, I made my way down there. I told Drex, like Drex is in Florida, and I just said, hey, listen, I'm going to this conference. It wasn't really a Cardano conference. It definitely wasn't a NFT conference. It was
definitely
a tech conference, but there was a lot of blockchain companies there. Like Walmart was there. So there's a lot of other companies there. But I was going to support Serge because he invested in putting up a booth, and he basically was representing Cardano and the CNFT space for everyone. Also selling his own project and explaining, but a big part of what he did there was represent Cardano. So I went down personally to help him out with that. And lo and behold, I run into Ryan.
Yes, sir.
So Ryan and I, kind of bonded, and we were shooting the shit and grabbed a beer together, and we had a good time. And then I heard about what you guys were doing. So, of course, Drex and I connected with you guys, and here we are.
Definitely,
it's awesome.
And again, this all started. I got to give him a shout out. We gave him a shout out on the last episode. Was River Rock Homestead.
Yeah.
He reached out to us on Twitter and said, hey, when are you going to get going with Ugly Bros and have Serge on? And then that started that convo. And then right after starting to talk with Serge, he's like, hey, I got an extra ticket. Hit me up on DMs and I'll send the link to you. And then he's like, oh, I got Bobby coming. I got Lua. I got all these people coming to Collision. We're going to hook you up. We'll all have a meetup. And yeah, so he started it all for us and then look, now we're here.
Pretty important. One of the things you mentioned about like, the purpose of actually going to Collision, it being like to not even just to be like, this is my project, get hyper awareness. It was actually just like to tell people about Cardano too, like Cardano, like regardless of what's up, like if you go anywhere and do anything related to your project or even us, like we consider ourselves like Cardano, we're all Cardano ambassadors for the pond, for the puddle that is the ghost chain, the best chain that is Cardano, like, right? So that was pretty cool. I didn't know that was kind of the mindset, and I think that's really, really different on other blockchains and other projects.
Yeah, I think it's important, right? Like as big as Cardano is, it is a very tight knit community. Mm-hmm. Especially coming now from a project side. You see the same people in every Discord. You see that the owners, or at least the reputable project owners. You get to meet them. You get to meet their members, and you see a lot of the same people in the space. So, for Surge being, a bigger project and having minted a massive collection of 7,500 NFTs, his next step isn't to just try and, shill his project to the existing member base. He's taken it a step further and going outside, right? And other people about Cardano. So, I love what he's doing, and, obviously was going to support them.
Yeah, that makes sense. We talked to him a little bit about that in the last one, and it's kind of funny when you look at the scale. You're like, you can't actually just stay in that same pond. So it's pretty cool. Going on to scale now. Let's get back to Cardopoly. Great name, like flows perfectly. By the way,
I love the A is the ADA symbol.
Right? Yeah, I see that everywhere. It's good. So okay, we know about, it's like Monopoly, but not. I don't know if you guys we're not allowed to say Monopoly. I don't know.
Well, we're not Monopoly. It's based so the mechanics are based off of the table game, but everything else is basically different. We did use a play on the word because it's something that we can reference and tie home to other people about, and they can connect with it. But the mechanics of the game are not
popular. They wouldn't even lend to themselves working by having the sheer amount of people that's possible to be in the game anyways, right?
Right.
But it does give, even the name does spark some sort of basic expectation of what they can get from a timeless game.
Absolutely.
Kind of like built off that concept, so that makes sense. So how did you guys get to the whole thing of like that many people can play at the same time? Because that's when you guys talked about that, I was just like,
what was the decision for 750, I guess?
So basically our idea was, we wanted to come out with a collection that was not a 10,000 piece collection. We wanted to basically mint a collection that we felt comfortable building a game around, and we wanted to create a smaller, tight-knit community. But we also wanted to create enough game pieces where it funded the project development, and that it basically created something unique where it wasn't just 12 people playing. So we came out with that number because it felt right in terms of the scale of the board. It's 1,000 properties, 750 players. And we can upscale the board or downscale the board or create separate boards depending on where we go next. So
really?
Yeah. So basically this number felt right to us. It was we ended up minting, when was it, Drex? In February?
Yeah, late February,
which was the first bear market.
I was gonna say that was the first kind of dip, right?
So we wanted to, and we basically were smart about it, right? We wanted to control our supply based on the demand we had at the time. So we didn't have 10,000 Discord members. We wanted to make sure that we gave everyone a chance to get, one or two game pieces. And we didn't want people holding, 50, 60, 200 game pieces, right? So we wanted to create that small community that was a good environment to build a game behind, and not have 10,000 people yelling at us like, when's the game coming out? When's the game coming out?
Right. Yeah. I was actually thinking about this because I couldn't remember when you guys minted or anything like that.
Yeah, we were discussing that.
You were dreaming about this in December, and you guys are minting in February, December, January, like that's not a lot of time. How did you, and December's like, holiday month for a lot of people. How did you pull that all off? Is Drexler a machine, or is he a man?
Well, it was like a pretty crazy, honestly, chunk of work that we bit off, because like Bobby said, we all said, hey, we want to do this project together. Okay. We form it up. We want to build this specific game with 750 people playing live with 1,000 properties. That's great to say. But to actually execute that, it's definitely quite a lot of work. I, really threw myself at it pretty hard, leading up until the mint and through the mint, to build, kind of as Bobby alluded to, one of the first Web3 multi-sig minting pipelines on Cardano. And really, I didn't do it to try to be first or anything like that, because again, like a couple other guys had done it before me. But really, I just felt that was the cleanest way to mint that I'd ever seen across any network. Just like click one button, NAMI or your wallet of choice pops up, sign the transaction, done. And as soon as your ADA leaves your wallet, you receive your NFT. So I just felt that it was really, really clean. And, as a pretty long-term software engineer myself, been doing it since 2004, just like the idea of that simplicity and that elegance really was pretty appealing to me. So I chased after it as hard as I possibly could.
Chasing that elusive, elegant code.
Exactly. And, like a lot of the tooling around it was pretty new at the time. It still is pretty new. There's a lot of new libraries and tools coming out to make this easier and easier, pretty much by the week. I mean, there's great stuff coming out all the time. But, I just had a lot of fun doing it. It was a really cool challenge. And as a group, we were just absolutely determined to launch this collection and the game.
Right. Okay. Now that I recognize, like, holy crap, what you've done here, I can ask, like, how hard is it to actually develop in, like, is it Plutus that we're working with? Like, we've heard about, like, how difficult it can be to sometimes develop in Cardano. I mean, sure, your experience and whatnot, but were you kind of scratching your head earlier on and, like, being like, I'm not loving this, and the limited libraries or component libraries available? Like, what was that actually like from a programmer? Like, go as like technical as you need to, even if we don't understand it. Someone out there is
I know. I was gonna say, I'll go back and try and listen like 7 times.
I listen to, like, when we both edit, we end up listening to every episode 3-4 times and kicking ourselves. Usually it's me. Ryan's like, yeah, that's wrong. And I'm like, shut up, Ryan. So, like, feel free to go technical. And after, I'm probably just gonna nod my head and be like, thank you for that. Moving on.
Yeah, no problem.
So, like, tell us about the development process. How hard was it to kind of grasp that?
Yeah. It was pretty hard. I'd say it was one of the harder things I've ever done. So just to back up a little bit, you bring up Plutus. I was a part of the Plutus Pioneers program. I didn't really participate in it probably as much as others did. But, I was following along with it. And yes, to a degree, I was scratching my head a bit. Developing in the Plutus world is night and day from mainline software development today. Like, we're all dealing with basically the technology of the 90s still. With any new company that launches technology, we're building the same HTTP based APIs that we've been building, connecting to databases like MySQL. It's just the same thing over and over, right? But into Plutus, it is a complete paradigm shift. Plutus definitely interests me, but what I was more interested in was skipping Plutus altogether, and that's what I did. So we have, you've seen, like, all the Plutus tooling, and a lot of the Cardano tooling is in Haskell. There are ways of compiling that to JavaScript. Just about every core IOHK toolkit out there compiles to JavaScript. Once I realized that, my first thought was, well, okay, like, maybe I'll write some smart contracts and kind of deal with that. But what I realized when it comes to doing the most simple possible mint on this network is you don't need smart contracts. We don't have smart contracts in our stuff at all right now. If we ever do something where somebody's got to hold something, in custody, and somebody else is going to bid on it, like a marketplace type thing, I think smart contracts are really, really valuable. But when it comes to doing a mint like ours, and pretty much 99% of mints out there, the name of the game to me is really transaction orchestration. We are simply building a transaction and taking it through a series of steps. And at a couple points in that process, there's going to be signatures that are going to need to be added. And in our process for the Web3 mint, first, we need to be able to add our signature to it, so we can say, hey, we're authorizing that this this token is minted. And then, of course, for the user to pay for that mint, they've got to sign it as well. And we also have the user themselves submit the transaction for a couple reasons. One, we don't have to build out a whole infrastructure where we're queuing transactions and managing the ones that fail and all that. But also, it speaks more to the distributed nature of Web3. I think it addresses the distributed nature of Web3 a little bit better especially if you expand to a larger collection. But even in our case with 750, if you want to do a big hype drop and you want to do an instant sellout hype drop with 750, managing your own transaction submissions, it gets a little bit hairy. So much cleaner, so much nicer if they can all submit those from all around the world all at once.
So with what you're saying, so first of all, you said a couple of things there. The paradigm shift, the Plutus, I'm still actually wondering, I'm like, how is it built? Like, we'll get to that maybe offline another time. I'm wondering about the frameworks and how it's kind of set up, because I'm like, that is how you build things, Can I do a database, back end, front end, bull UI? Okay, great. So, but with what you're saying, even though you've said, okay, we've kind of just initiated that kind of, I guess, simultaneously, because it's the nature of Web3 being decentralized. In my mind, I'm like, you're throwing your signature in there. The person that's initiating the purchase has got their signature in there. I'm like, that sounds like a smart contract, but I mean, I guess the smart contract has everything built in. You're just kind of like telling it to do its thing, as opposed to what you're doing is initiating it.
Sort of. I mean, I think a lot of people assume that when we talk about Web3, we've got a smart contract there. And like what we know about kind of traditional web development, we kind of figure, okay, there used to be these things called databases, and now we have these things called smart contracts. And maybe the smart contract is sort of a mix between a database and an API. I think we all kind of have, at the very least, kind of like a rough understanding of, what a smart contract is. But again, like, didn't have to touch smart contracts. It's totally separate. Didn't have to get into the Plutus world. A Cardano transaction, you can think of it like the lowest level form of programming you can do, right? So like if you're writing some PHP, like under the hood, that's C, right? If you're writing smart contract code with Plutus, under the hood, there's some transactions being built, bytes of stuff being put together and packaged in a very specific way that looks like a transaction to the Cardano network. Gotcha. So all that I have done, over the past few months is really just assemble these transactions in a way that's generic enough that I can have a pipeline and request, hey, I need a signature here, I need a signature there from this particular party, from that particular party. And when we're ready to submit.
Holy shit.
I know, right?
Just
okay. So
glossed over.
As you describe this, right? It's all, for me, it's all conceptual. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I understand what he's saying. It's like this guy, like, and he's probably gonna say no, but it's like this guy went to DOS. It's like he went to the DOS of Cardano, and he's like, I don't need all the stuff on top. I'm just gonna interact with it at like one level above kernel, and we're good to go. Okay. Right. Holy shit, Drexler. That's awesome.
I'm glad you understand it.
People are always like, oh man, Cardano doesn't even have smart contracts. You can't do it. And it's like, and you're like, I feel like Drexler reminds me of Bruno from Kasama, who was executing NFTs that are owning other NFTs and doing multiple transactions by tagging blocks and not necessarily interacting with the chain, kind of just tagging it. And then,
it's like graffiti on a shipping.
Yeah, container. Then actually executing the actual transaction later on when the chain is at low load or whatnot. But that's kind of how they're keeping track of the timestamp. And it's all timestamps.
We like to call him the pirate of Cardano. He's like the Wild West guy coming in here and building some really cool shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a nice ace to have up your sleeve there, hey?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're listening, this project's got like chops in all directions. All right. What do we ask now?
I'll make a comment really quick too, just about that, about kind of like people were saying, oh, Cardano doesn't have smart contracts. It's great that they added them, but I mean, Cardano without smart contracts are great. Again, just to preface it, not hating them, but Cardano without smart contracts at all, if you never even had them, just with native tokens alone and some of these great Web3 tools that we have, like Nami, it is an extremely powerful platform, just even without smart contracts. But I digress.
No, it's good. That's good. That was awesome. You could that's the mic if you wanted to,
There.
That's
nice. Awesome. Yeah, where to go from here? I mean,
now the next question we had queued up was like so basic. Let's go.
Where is it? What was it?
It was like
I guess. Well, I'll ask what's the game itself? What's the cost of play? Basically, I mean, I know you got built-in transactions like re-rolls and getting out of jail and stuff. Let's talk a little bit about the gameplay of itself.
Yeah. So we set out to make this a self-funding game in terms of a prize pool, but it is a free-to-play game. So every week we're running a game. Each player will start with 75 free dice rolls. So you can use those throughout the week as slowly as you want, or you can use them all the first day. And basically, once you run out of that, then you're prompted with an option. You can either sit and collect rent with the properties that you have purchased using our in-game currency, which is not on chain.
Cool.
It's just in-game currency, Cardopoly dollars. And you can sit and collect rent from the properties that you purchased with the in-game currency and receive in-game currency in rent. Or you can purchase additional dice rolls for 5 ADA for 75 or 10 ADA for 200 dice rolls.
Okay.
And what that does is the funding of those dice rolls funds the prize pool that's paid out to the leaderboard at the end of the week. So
right, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, that's how, yeah, like you said, self-funded. That's brilliant.
So basically, the leaderboard is tracked on how much in-game currency you have, and this cannot be purchased with ADA. It's just everyone starts with 10,000 Cardopoly dollars. You buy and sell properties in Cardopoly dollars. You pay taxes. You purchase properties, and you collect rent in Cardopoly dollars. But you're judged at the end of the week on how much you end with that bankroll. And so the top 30 people with the most amount of Cardopoly dollars get paid out in ADA prizing, which is funded from our dice roll purchases. And we have an option to purchase to get out of jail instantly for 5 ADA as well.
Holy shit.
I like that, because it seems like people are like, 5 ADA. Like for me, it's like 5 ADA. It's like, but then you tack on, you're like, wait, I just bought 200 rolls. I got out of jail twice. It ends up adding up. But you know what? Like top 30, that's a pretty good leaderboard. I mean, out of 7, you would hope 750 play, right?
Yeah. The cool thing too is with what Drex has built is using our multi-sig pipeline is if you are on that top 30 leaderboard, you simply get prompted at the end of the game, if you own that NFT, to basically claim your reward in a multi-sig transaction. So you're claiming your ADA prize for the NFT that you own. So it's not like we have to distribute it out. Just by winning, you're signing a transaction saying, hey, I'm eligible. It'll prompt you with a little pop out, and you claim your ADA prize.
So would it prompt me, say I play 1 week and I don't play, say I don't log in for a month, would it still prompt me for that last win?
If you were top 30 on 1 week, and then you kind of forgot about it, and you logged in a month later and you still owned that NFT, you would log into our website and you'd still be prompted to claim that prize. It would be part of your prize pool. So the other interesting thing is if you sold that NFT and forgot to claim your prize, the new owner of your NFT would be able to claim their prize. It's tied.
Could you imagine being first?
That's
and
awesome.
Like, I gotta sell this.
Yeah, all of our data is tied back to the NFT ownership. So let's say you were playing the game, you were halfway through a game week, and you're like, hey, I got a really good offer on my game piece, and you sold it. Well, whoever just bought it can log into the game and take off exactly where you left off. They would have your properties, they would have your in-game currency, and they would be where you were on the leaderboard.
That's interesting. So that's amazing. So I guess it still works the same as if, say, I owned a piece and transferred it to Devon to let him to go play.
Exactly. Yep.
But then it creates it means that on secondary, it creates this whole other type of value that someone, they don't know, they might not be aware. Like we have our little piece, the helicopter, which is super cute. It's like, Ryan's been playing, let's say he did amazing and he's just bought dice rolls and he never stopped. And then like you list it and there could be another helicopter next to it, and ours is worth way, way more because of what we've done in the game in that past cycle. Is that, it kind of creates this.
Is there like a lifetime stat to almost like a playing card, like a baseball card? You have the front and then to the back, there's your lifetime stats on it.
Yeah, so we're that's something that we were talking to the other guys about.
You can say it, F35ers podcast.
Yeah, we love them. It's all good.
We were watching their live.
For our podcast, we're going to be on there. So we're good. We're all
and that's something that we can add, because obviously on the blockchain everything is traceable, and we can add a tracker to do that. But like for what you're talking about, to sell it on JPEG, they wouldn't have, like, there wouldn't be a way to add metadata to that piece to say like, oh, this guy has 75 dice rolls left and he's got 8 claims. So the secondary market functionality is not there yet for that. It would just have to be kind of a trusted escrow trade, almost be like, hey, I do have. So I don't think we can really encourage that, but it definitely does add an interesting layer to.
You should just Drexel the Wizard to just draft up some Discord bot and have a whole little marketplace in your Discord.
Just make
before we started down this game, Drex was actually in the process of building his own marketplace.
Oh, well, there you go.
Here first. NFG's Alpha, we got that 20 minutes in. Yes. But here's the thing, like I wouldn't even be concerned about that kind of secondary market trust issue deal. Like when we were minting early in the early days of September, not even a year ago, everything was that. It was like send your ADA to this random address. Like it could have been scam city. We were we were just doing it and getting NFTs and being like, sweet. And yeah, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things we can look at doing in season 2. This collection won't be our last collection. Kind of like the bridge to what you're talking about, Ryan, is that, on our website, you'll be able to see like your own history. And kind of from there, like, I think we can kind of imagine that eventually you'll have a profile there, which may show like the pieces you've held in the past. I came in 5th this time, 1st this time. Here's the achievements I've won and everything like that. We can definitely imagine there will be something like that. Definitely at some point for sure.
That's awesome, because that reminds me of like every game that you want to go play, like Xbox Live achievements, sort of say, like you go on and it's like, this is my whole history and people can view your profile, and it's like you build an ecosystem and community around all that. I love that idea.
Yeah, that was another big aspect that so we have our ADA prizes, but we also wanted to bring some extra little fun to the game. So we're doing NFT token achievements that are just like you would be able to be prompted at the end of the game to collect your ADA prize if you're a top 30. There's going to be token achievements where you're going to be prompted at the end of the game, if you won them, to mint a achievement token live on our website using our multi-sig pipeline. So yes, so obviously there's going to be a achievement token for the winner of the game. There's going to be an achievement token for the top 20 placers. There's going to be an achievement token for the guy that spent the most time in prison.
That's awesome.
That's great.
There's going to be an achievement token for the guy that we call the lazy landlord that just bought up a bunch of properties and then kind of forgot to roll the rest of the week. Now we've got some cool ones that we're doing that we're not going to disclose, but basically the idea is to have a locker like on PlayStation or Xbox where you'll have all these achievements and you can look at them. But for now, we're just creating a separate policy that'll be verified on JPEG. Where it'll store all of our achievements.
That'd be cool. Would you guys do I guess I don't know how hard it would be, because again, I don't know Drexler's side of everything, but where you would have dated I finished first place in this game, or like game 7 date kind of thing. Is that what would kind of be the details within the
so like in the metadata of the achievement, it'll say like what week you won it in.
Okay, that's the metadata, that's right.
That's cool. Okay, this is going to be embarrassing because now I'm like, you guys are going to be like, don't you know how to play Monopoly? So this, first of all, the board has to be freaking huge because you can't, normally Monopoly is like 4 people or whatever. So the board is probably massive. Well, I've seen it. It's massive. So when you get there, you land, you buy your thing, and then anyone that lands on that, but what are these rent prices like? And that's all with the in-game currency, right?
Rent. Yeah. So purchasing properties and paying rent, and we have these things called community landing zone cards, which are basically action cards. So gaining Cardopoly dollars, losing Cardopoly dollars, moving around the board, or going to prison. So everything that's involved with those is paid with our in-game currency. That's not tied to ADA. Right. Everyone starts with the same amount. Every game piece is equal to start the week. So that's that. The board itself, you're right, is huge. So to be able to play with all these players, we had to come up with a massive board. So it's 250 properties per side. Okay. Every 5 properties in a row, there's a community landing zone card. So it goes 5 properties, community landing zone card, 5 more properties, all the way around the board. And that presented itself a huge visual space problem, because when you think about it, we wanted to map out 1,000 properties on a board. Well, you try to show that on a single screen, and you can't. It looks really, really zoomed out. And
I was gonna say, when I joined the live stream and you were doing a beta testing on it, I was like, why the hell? Okay, I'm trying to click start, and I was like, what is going on? And then I realized, oh, I probably have to zoom because I can only see a bit of it. And I was like, I started zooming out, and I was like, there it is. Okay, and then I was able to play. So it took a couple seconds to figure it out, but yeah, you had to zoom out on Chrome, anyways.
Yeah, that's kind of a separate thing where it's more our dynamic screen adjustments based on, because like I play on a 13-inch laptop. Drex has like a 3,000-foot wide monitor. So
and two huge screens, and like I really designed it almost like with that as like the starting point. It's presented pretty big challenges for doing the responsiveness down, but we keep getting better and better at smaller screen sizes. And we'll talk more, I'm sure, about like what we're doing for mobile too later, but it all ties into that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, it's not mobile yet.
So we have mobile support now in the Kiwi browser on Android. You can play. We've had several people play on their mobile device, which is exciting. We also have a partnership in the works with Eternal. We're going to be in their DApp store.
Oh, beautiful.
So right in the Eternal app on mobile, you'll see Cardopoly under the game section. Once we get it like really good in mobile, but we're still kind of, as Bobby was saying, working on that dynamic screen sizing. It looks great on giant monitors. We're still working to get it looking really, really crispy.
I'll hook my TV up that I have hanging above here. I'll hook it up there.
As long as it's 4K, it'll look.
Well, then okay, never mind. I won't.
and the idea is that it's going to look the same on any screen that you plug into, right? Like, so for me, I just zoom out a little bit on my browser, and it's great. But the whole visual space thing that I was kind of alluding to is that's why our board looks like a railroad track, right? So it's a line. Because this now solves our visual space problem. It doesn't show every property, but the line represents all the properties on the board. And if you hover over any spot on that line, the property pops out, and you can see.
Yeah, I'm messing around with it right now.
So are you in right now?
Yeah, I am in right now. I'm out of roles though, but yeah, I'm in there right now.
You bastard.
I don't even know if there's a game going on, but I just logged in while we were. I was on the leaderboard somewhere at one point, but from the Monday game. But
So
you were in 16th place. I'm looking at a screenshot.
Yeah, I see 15, so 16 somewhere.
So if you're outside of the top 30, then you kind of you played, but you didn't make it in. So there's no like, well, who knows? You might be able to get an achievement.
Keep buying more roles and keep going.
There's no like ADA payout if you're not in the top 30.
Correct. Yeah. So it's going to be funded basically to the top 30. And then there's going to be achievements for people who didn't, there's certain achievements for people who didn't make the leaderboard, but that's kind of like the fun aspect. It's competitive. It's competitive. And we have a lot of very competitive people in our Discord who are very eager to play. So sorry, Devon, is there
anything to I guess you always hear about passive income and all that. Is there anything legality wise you had to do with the prize pool?
Yeah, so it's basically a self-claiming prize pool. So because it's multi-sig, you would have the option to claim it if you're in the US and you don't want to get taxed on your gain or whatever. Then you don't have to claim it. We'll have some sort of a disclaimer on that. But Drex and I, outside of that, for our own protection as a corporation, are founding an LLC separate from our individual persons to protect ourselves from this.
Good call. Set that up in Delaware. No big deal.
Yeah, actually, so interestingly enough, we set it up in Wyoming. It's one of the first DAO LLCs. So it's truly a DAO LLC backed by a smart contract. Submit the smart contract address to the state, and they go, here you go. I think it's cool. I mean, it's really cool. They're the first state to offer that.
I'm not surprised. So a friend of mine lives in Wyoming, and she actually told me about that. And man, Hoskinson's like hanging out there half the time. He's always there in Denver somewhere, or Colorado somewhere. So I feel like that they're trying to become the digital Delaware for LLCs, like for sure.
Yeah, and it's like this. Okay, I'm like 90% sure this is true, but I'm going to say it anyway. I believe that Wyoming was actually the first state to introduce the LLC as well. So they're sort of like a pioneer. They view themselves as a pioneer in like small business and
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think you might be right on that. Yeah, I've had some conversations about this, and I don't remember all the details, but I remember it was like Wyoming's actually pretty big when it comes to business development. So yeah, that makes sense. I did not know they had actually had that DAO LLC running though. That's crazy. So the whole state has just made their own DAO, and then every business that's opens up isn't part of a Wyoming government regulated DAO.
No, so they actually you bring your own DAO. So you set up a DAO, you submit the smart contract, and honestly, like I doubt that these guys that are managing it even know. Like I don't even know what they really like look at. But, I sent them the smart contract address, and they go approved. So I'm not really sure what they look at or what they monitor, but you have to set up your own DAO.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And this is simply just to protect us as founders and to keep the project, above board. In reality, though, the funding, 70% is going to the rewards of the leaderboard. 30% goes back to us. And at its current state, with up to 750 players, it's basically a self-funding game. Where we're paying $250 a month just on servers alone to provide these real streams. So, we set it up so that it's a self-funding game, but then, as we look to expand, drop a bigger collection, and then, things start really ramping up, this is all built behind the scenes to protect ourselves.
Yeah, that makes sense. Enough. That is super cool. I did not know that you guys did that. Good stuff. Yeah. So wait, that 30%, I'm assuming, and you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to.
Yep.
This person's
I'm happy to.
Because there's no right now. It sounds like the game's kind of self-funding itself. But is there like a profit or a mechanism for you guys to have like R&D and invest in, I guess, season release 2 or whatnot? Like, how does Bobby and Drexler and the company make money?
Yeah, so actually, it's very transparent. When you buy a dice roll, the transaction metadata shows that 70% goes to the prize pool wallet, which is traceable and posted, and 30% goes to our main bag, Cardopoly wallet. That's our project funding, and that is used to basically pay our overhead, cover any marketing expenses, and then also start to accumulate funding towards a next season collection for art, because you may have noticed we don't have an in-house artist.
I was gonna get there. I was gonna ask about the art, but go ahead.
No, so that's how it's split up. So it's all transparent. Again, it's all above board. We're not trying to swindle anything outside the game. So that's kind of the structure that we have set up. To expand and move down our roadmap quicker. And we have some really cool ideas about incorporating other projects using their NFTs as game pieces. We've actually submitted
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we've submitted a Fund 9 Catalyst proposal, which is this existing Catalyst proposal, to look for some additional funding, basically to support Drex and what he's building. But also to improve some UI and get some help in to just accelerate what we're trying to do. And part of that is to on-ramp the game to other projects.
That's a great idea.
On-ramp the game. So are you thinking? Oh, right. I did ask about this in the live where I was like, we could have like a themed board, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, sort of. That's definitely part of our strategy in terms of like marketing and bringing other projects onto our existing board. But what I'm talking about is, for example, Ugly Bros, letting them into our game environment and using Ugly Bro NFTs as game pieces for a certain. Yeah. So for like one weekend only, this project can use game pieces and play our board. It gives them. Awesome. For us, it definitely helps, bring some exposure to our game and give people, some visibility to what we're doing. But for other projects, maybe some projects that are looking or starving for utility, it'll bring their community some fun, some fun ways to show their community a different experience.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that just opened up a bunch of collaborations that I could probably... I'll talk off air with you.
Also, like, I think for anyone listening, like that one thing you said, that literally is so much bigger than this project, because it's it could, if there is a project, you guys met from a rug, like if there are projects that are struggling, and if their team is connected to the community, which you pretty much have to be able to do anything, you can now, quote unquote, and I'm like, this is careless words here, but like you could possibly like save some, you know what I mean? It could be a big deal if someone's like, well, here, we've plugged this in. You guys are that's pretty cool. That offers.
Yeah, we want to use that ability to obviously help other projects with utility, but we don't want to take away from our investors in our NFTs. So it would just be simply like one weekend, like it's this project one weekend, but we still run our normal game cadence for our piece holders. It's almost like a try it before you buy it experience for other projects.
Right.
That's such a good idea. I like the fact even too, like you have the gingerbread rebaked. Like that was a rug pull that the community took over, and you guys, they're one of your spaces there promoting. Like you guys are promoting it, right?
Yeah.
So
no, he's Headroom's the artist from Gingerbread Rebake. He's got his own project that he's doing right now. Incredible artist, and super thrilled to partner with him.
So that's awesome. There the things, I think we talked about this, like the things in the corner that we saw on the board, those are the community, like it's like they're not like sponsored, but like how is that, what's that deal?
Those are the collaboration ones, right?
Do you want me to screen share? Like, am I able to screen share just so that you can see, or would that mess up the screen?
It's all, actually, maybe I have to give you like permissions to do that. And if you're listening, sorry.
It's just more just so you can have a visual while we're talking about it. But
I don't know.
Anyway, so the four corners of our board are actually commissioned by projects that we partnered with, and they designed their own corners. So we set out to find partners that we liked as a project. We set out to find projects that we thought was really cool and making some waves in the space. So on start, you'll see or for those of you listening, you will see is Cardano Lounge. Cardano Lounge obviously is a really, really great place to start your CNFT experience. For those of you that don't know them, they're basically a hangout that talks about upcoming mints, projects. They list and kind of rate projects on their reputability. And, they created this corner for us. It was actually Sven from Cardano Lounge. He also has his own project, Unwanted Ones. And he created this corner for us. So then moving along to Prison, obviously a familiar one. It's partnered with Serge at Ugly Bros. Dan, his artist, created this square for us. And, we're really, really thrilled about that custom square for our Prison. And then moving down the board to Stash House, basically, this is the square where all of the taxes and rent, if you're in prison, would go to. It collects all the in-game currency, and if you land on the Stash House, you get 20% of that pot paid back to you in Cardopoly dollars. So it's a really game-changing square, and for that reason, we decided to partner with Benjamin Group, who's also a big supporter of ours, and they're doing some really, really cool things with their minting platform. Fun Plastic, obviously with the egg reveal. We're just thrilled to have them as a partner for that corner. And then I talked about Headroom and Gingerbread Rebaked earlier. He's taken on the Go to Prison Square.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
This is cool. So with the art, who made the art? Like, where did all the pieces come from? Sorry, the pieces, not the corners.
Yeah, so the game pieces, this was one of our first challenges as a squad, right? Like, we set out, we had the idea, oh shit.
Does anyone know how to draw?
Yeah, does anyone know how to render?
That's hilarious.
So that was our first project as a group. We obviously had a great developer. We all knew how to do our own respective roles. We had someone, I'm not going to lie and say I was a Discord expert, but a couple of the guys, Dowie and Spooter, is from the UK and from Australia, and then Paj is from Portugal. These guys are all amazing with Discord, and they're all in different time zones. So it was really, really great to have their expertise. And obviously with me, you can probably tell I'm in sales, so I just like talking about what we're building and kind of coming up with some unique ideas. But Yeah, we didn't have an artist, so we that was our first job. We set out, we interviewed artists. We commissioned some mock-ups based on some 3D game pieces that we envisioned. We had a list of ideas that we wanted to see, and we ended up going with this great group called Leon Art Group out of Iran, and they are a phenomenal duo. They've done a ton of 3D work. They've even done some commercials for us in Canada for the government.
Oh, cool.
So they're very, very reputable, very awesome to work with. And they were just getting started out too with their own little project in Cardano as well. So they were pretty, unknown on the blockchain scene, but well known outside. So we partnered with them. They were phenomenal to work with. They hit all of our deliverables, and we look forward to working with them on a larger collection in the future.
Well, the artwork, if anyone is poking around and checking things out on JPEG, so like some of them is really, really good. I think one of my favorites is like the submarine. Well, I guess like the favorite has to be like the helicopter because that's what we have. But submarine's just so cool, right? And it's got the thing I love about it is the shadow underneath it, and then the reflection and the little torpedo, I guess, that comes out of it or something. It's
that's
cool.
My favorite too, personally. Yeah. I like that, and I like the seaplane because selfishly, that's my game piece. But.
Okay, nice. yeah, it's really cool. But here's the thing, though. Like, look on JPEG Store with ones that are available. What's the deal? What's the deal with the different pricing? I mean, are some pieces capable of doing more things than others?
Do you have rarity too? I guess.
Yeah.
The most basic question: does your collection have rarity?
Yeah. So we have a full rarity chart. Basically, in game, all the pieces are equal. We didn't want to say, hey, this piece you get extra dice rolls, or hey, this piece you start with more money. It's a fair game experience for anyone that joins. Everyone starts with the same amount of money at the beginning of the week. So in game, there's no utility to the game pieces. Out of the game, we've created some special things for certain rarities of our game pieces. There's 5 legendary pieces that are unique one-of-ones that Leon Art Group created. And they're really, really cool. So we have a Yeti. We have a burger that's Drex's favorite piece. We have a tiger. We have a Lambo. We have a special Leon Art Group commissioned devil. And I think, is that 5?
I think so.
Or is that 4? Anyway, so so we have 5 of those, and then we have, moving down from there, we have diamond pieces, which are basically our individual assets colored up with a really, really cool diamond shell graphic on them. And there's one of each of those. So together, that makes 20 one-of-one game pieces. Gotcha. And for those, we created a special out-of-game utility where we're actually sharing a portion of our secondary market JPEG Store royalties back to them. So awesome. Again, using a certain threshold, which you can kind of see in the top corner of our header on our main website. Basically at 2,000 ADA, we distribute our share of royalties to those particular piece holders. So there's a little bit of extra utility for them.
Interesting. That's why it says, like, I did see that I'm like next gift, and I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, so those are for our special like legendaries and diamond piece holders. And then we have gold, silver, and bronze. There's obviously fewer of those in the collection than some of the other colors like blue and yellow and red. Every quarter we do within our Discord a raffle for ADA prizes. And each person that owns one of those is basically got a ticket towards that draw. Cool. So a little bit of outside utility. And then moving to all game pieces in general, obviously with the partners that we've got, and then, other Discords that, we connect with on a daily basis, they give out, whitelist spots or NFTs or whatever. All game pieces, once you have your holder role, have access to our giveaway channel in our Discord, and they're all eligible to hit those up.
Awesome. Just to give context, the Yeti legendary piece is for sale on JPEG for 15,000 ADA.
Yeah, they're not going cheap. I think
Not at all.
I don't know, Drex, what was our highest sale? I don't really like to look at floor price or I don't really like to look at that stuff because in all honesty, we're focused on building. But I think our the Leon Art Group Devil, I think, sold for like
4,500, I think.
4,500 ADA.
That's awesome.
We've had
That
a
Yeti's
few really-
beautiful.
We've had a few really good big sales. But like Bobby said, there's those unique tiers. But I just want to also just quickly add, like, each and every piece is unique. There are no two pieces that look alike. So, you're never going to see two of the same piece on the board.
Right, because the color combinations and different
With
stuff.
the backgrounds, yeah.
Yeah, good point.
That's wicked.
And I do like the color. Yeah, that's really nice. Earlier on, this is good because even though we were on the live and Ryan and I've talked about it, Ryan's been playing. I'm now thinking, okay, I want you to pass the game piece to me. I'll get us some dice rolls and play. It's cool, it really is. But I wanted to bring this up at the end now, the Catalyst vote. Like, if you are listening and you do know about this, like, you kind of touched on it, but you should definitely vote. What's the closing date for that Catalyst project proposal date? Or vote?
Yeah, so actually, funny enough, just today, 11 hours ago, we moved into our it's basically our questions and assessment phase.
Oh, cool.
And for those of you that are listening, for you guys that aren't familiar with the Catalyst proposal, this is our first one and probably going to be our only one that we ever do for this project, because we're not looking for a handout per se. Our goal is to be a self-funding game.
Yeah.
The purpose of this Catalyst proposal that we've submitted is to accelerate and give back to the community using our platform and our technology. So for those of you that aren't familiar, basically it starts off in different phases. One of them is, the first one, obviously you submit your proposal. The second one is it gets reviewed by basically a board of assessors that you can sign up for once you log in and sign up as a Catalyst assessment assessor. And you actually can get paid in ADA to do this. So a lot of people now, I know some of the other like content creators like Jay Crypto, he does that quite a bit, and he assesses Catalyst proposals. And if you do a good enough job, you can actually get paid in ADA.
I totally thought it was like, I input output like staff that are doing this, or like Charles Hopkinson, that's all he does. He just reads proposals.
Yeah. I mean, it's good because it's a variety of people that sign up, and it's completely not it's not centralized, right? So you could sign up with your own expertise. I could sign up with my own expertise, and you can critique all these different projects. So that's the phase we're at now, where people are assessing our proposal. And then so basically from there, we move into the governance stage. And that is where you put your ADA where your mouth is as an individual. So if you've registered using Yoroi, Eternal, Adalite, you sign that transaction to register to vote for the Catalyst proposal, that's where the governance phase comes into play. Basically, the ADA that you have in your wallet is your vote. And you vote on all the different projects.
500 ADA,
it's minimum of 500. Yeah, so it's not, it's not a ton, but obviously they don't want, a bunch of people with, splitting their wallets up and, having a ton of different votes. But exactly. It is weighted on the amount of ADA you have. And you can vote on all the different proposals for all the different funds. I know JPEG Store has like 15 out right now. They're trying to accelerate some stuff they're doing. But we are, as far as I could tell, we're the only NFT project out for proposal that has minted and built a game. A lot of these proposals from other projects, not to throw shade on them, but they haven't minted yet, and they're just looking for whatever.
They don't want to put their own money into it. In a sense.
Where is it from? So is it that they'll take it from the Cardano like vaults and be like, all right, here's your whatever. Which
I think there's $8 million of ADA in this particular Fund 9 proposal. In Fund 9 that's going to be dispersed now. It's, obviously there's some huge initiatives that are going on in Cardano and some really, really important projects. Like, there's stuff that philanthropic projects that are going on in like Africa and all over the world that they need a high level of funding. And, they could be asking for 1 million, 2 million just on their own.
Right.
Whereas we're just looking for basically a launch step to take this game to a spot where we can bring it to other projects and grow this to be a very reputable blockchain game on Cardano and basically go shoulder to shoulder with some of these other blockchains.
I love that. I think that's important. We talked last week to Serge about the size of Cardano and the developers that are coming to it. Drexler, don't listen, Drexler, I get it if you want to work with other chains, but EVMs here, it should be easier for you. All we're going to say is don't leave us. We need you.
I'm not going anywhere. No, I'm here to stay. Once we started building this, for me, it was like, we're doing this. We're taking Cardano as far as we can possibly take it.
Sweet.
I mean, I could go on a whole rant about the overall Web3 revolution that's taking place, but the place I want to be during this revolution is I want to be right here in the Cardano community.
Okay. Because that's how we grow, right? The developers come in and do more things. The more we build, that adds greater utility, and then blockchain grows and cool out of the bear in our own way. That's kind of a bit of a stretch, but whatever. Don't hold me to that. No, that's pretty cool. I really like that, man. Ryan, do you got anything else, man? This is I want to play now. I want that little helicopter.
I'll send it to you. Don't worry.
Okay, good. Yeah.
The only thing you might not be able, because right now we're still in testing. So
yes.
I just got to give you a tester role.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to log in and take off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Let's start at some of the basics. When can everyone play? We didn't even say that. Yeah. When is everything available? I know the pieces are available now.
The NFTs are available. Yeah.
When's the whole good to go?
Yeah. So like we alluded to earlier, our collection is sold out. We sold out end of February, early March. From there, we basically were, nose to the ground building this game. We have been testing the game and playing as founders for the last 2 months. 3 weeks ago, we actually opened up our game to 80 Discord members that were basically part of our OG squad that, were there from the beginning. And we invited them all to test the game and play for 6 days.
Yeah.
And we got a ton of learnings from that, because all these mechanics and game theory, coming from a small scale board, moving to a live play as you go game, they made sense to me in my head on paper. But hell, we get into game one, and so we didn't have a cap on dice rolls per 6 hours, or we had we just let people roll as much as they want right off the get-go. Well, that was great for our start, but then we had players that joined from Asia or Australia, and they joined 6 hours later, and they're like, oh, well, everything's already bought up, and I can't really play. It's not competitive.
Right.
So we had to really work with our beta testers to hone in the game theory and the mechanics to where it is now, where it's fair no matter where you start, no matter what time zone you're in. And so that's what our beta testing really helped us with, and it was super fun for the community. It was a blast. So we had a great time with that. That wrapped up, a couple of weeks ago, like I said. So from there, we're basically making some quality of life improvements. We're taking a lot of our learnings from beta that we couldn't implement in patches live during that week. So Drex is now, back working behind the scenes, applying some UI updates, some patches, some quality of life, programming to this. And then I would say, depending on when this show comes out, but the week of
the 18th or very early of the week of the 25th.
Yeah, I would say probably the 25th. We're gonna do almost a soft launch for all of our holders to give everyone a chance to play for real ADA prizing with a live leaderboard. We're gonna do a 48-hour game, which is unlike what we're gonna do on our normal cadence, which is gonna be a 5-day long game. So we're just gonna do a fun 48-hour game. Not really promote it, but just to give thanks to everyone that supported us and let all of our members play.
Yeah.
From there, we'll take another week off, and then we'll start our 5-day game cadence.
Okay. So do you think that 48-hour might be like next week?
You asked Drex, he'll say yes, but you asked me, I'm thinking the week of the 25th.
Okay, good. So basically, all I want to know is if we're dropping this episode, when we do, does that constitute as NFG Alpha?
It is. It's NFG Alpha, boys.
Timing's perfect. you're listening. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's funny. I just realized, did we even get into, like, if you roll doubles in the game, what happens?
Oh, yeah.
If you're in jail and you roll, it kind like, does it follow the kind of the mechanics a little bit of like the board game that it's heavily influenced, I guess. But it's like you land on jail, you go to jail, you either pay to get out, or it's there you go. I'm watching your screen.
Yeah. So we have in our Discord, which is a PDF you can download, we have a full game rule breakout of basically how to play, how the game's funded, all the transparency we talked about earlier, the object of the game, and then all the little rules. Now, I say this because it's there, but who the hell reads rules, right?
It's true. I didn't think about it at all in the debate on live. I literally just started clicking roll.
Right.
Like, let's go.
Just tell me what action I gotta click to be accepted in the Discord. I don't care. I swear.
Like you guys are exactly like 99% of our members. Nobody's
Bobby, just want to let you know, for journalistic purposes, we couldn't read the rules beforehand, so we would ask you all questions during the podcast. We had to make sure there was enough ignorance coming into this to present the listeners with a full question asking experience. So,
and that's so kind of you guys to just be super coming in fresh, and we really appreciate that.
Way to be. Good job being idiots, guys. That's awesome. Yeah, that's us.
I claim to be one all the time, so I'm happy there.
But dice rolls, though, for doubles, you roll doubles. It's a free dice roll. You can roll doubles to get out of prison if you find yourself there. You can also pay 5 ADA to get out immediately. But like Bobby said, when you do stuff like that, the prize pool only increases.
Right.
So you don't have to pay to play. The only requirement is to have the NFT, and you can play a full game. But there are opportunities to do to send ADA into us and beef up that prize pot.
Go ahead, Devon.
Have you seen any like strategies that you didn't expect emerging? Because it's like dice roll.
Great question.
That's one thing I want to know. What are you seeing about where's the edge?
Yeah, so I mean that was a great question. I think a lot of our beta testers came in with the idea like, I'm gonna race around the board. I'm gonna spend all my Cardopoly dollars. I'm gonna buy up as many properties as I can, and then I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna see how I do. And that strategy, I thought would probably be pretty good. It ended up being great.
That's what I thought.
It ended up being too good. So what we did is we actually scaled it back, and so we've now permitted, and this ties back to making a fair environment for other time zones. So not only do we have a dice roll cap of 50 rolls per 6-hour period, meaning no matter if you bought 200 or 400 dice rolls and have it stacked up ready to go for the week, you can only use 50 rolls per 6-hour period, and it's just a counter. And after that 6 hours hits, you get another 50 that open up. That makes it fair for everyone that's playing around the world, but it also makes it a little bit less of a grind. Like 50 rolls was the perfect number where you finish and you're like, damn, that was fun. I want to play more, but I also want to get, I want to talk to other people that were playing and see how they did. And it wasn't like I'm sitting there like a mindless slot machine groany, clicking. So that was great. Now,
wearing a diaper.
Going back to the strategy and the properties, we actually took learnings from beta and we scaled back the amount of possible owned properties per section of the board. There's 8 sections. Each side has 2 sections, so 8 total. So each of those sections, you can own up to 5 properties. Once you do, you get a little signature in your property section that says max. So it tells you when you've owned the max amount of properties in that section. If you have max, you collect double rent on every property in that section.
See, I didn't know that. Okay, right? That's good.
So it caps your properties total per player at a maximum of 40, which is a lot. But it also stops people from racing around the board and getting all the properties on the first section and then stopping.
Yeah.
We've coded the community landing zone cards to really entice people to have a lot more positive benefits in terms of gaining value to roll and land on those, so that now it's not just a game of who got all the properties first. It's a game of like, yes, collecting the right strategic properties, but also
it's luck now. It's chance. What have you landed on? Who have you landed on? Did you get that? So it's now a lot more random and lucky than it was, for a bull run strategy.
I wonder if the games, let's say the cadence, the cycle is like, okay, so Monday morning East, like, I guess it's pretty good. Like if you're in Florida, Drexler, and we're all in Eastern time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I assume we'll probably, make it Eastern, boys. So if it's like gonna start at like, Monday morning Eastern, I wonder if there'll be like a flurry of game activity, everybody ignoring their day jobs and whatnot. But then like Friday, does it taper off and it gets kind of full? Like I'm wondering what the flow of gameplay will be. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I would imagine. No, I don't know, because so the 48-hour soft launch is going to be really cool. Because we're going to get a lot of learnings from that before we take it into the full week. I would imagine there's going to be a flurry the first couple of days, and then once the leaderboard starts getting set, I could see maybe people who aren't on the leaderboard, maybe either just degenning and going hard to make it, or just maybe tapering off and say, listen, I didn't do great at the start of this week. I'm going to wait till the next game.
But no, it a loss to them unless they were in jail, right?
Now, there's no in-game chat. Like I can't talk shit while I'm beating everyone, is there?
Yeah, we get asked this question a lot. Like, no.
I gotta go with Discord, so I got 2 windows open.
We are gonna have a Discord audio chat for those of you that want to have your crazy Call of Duty lobbies that are screaming at each other. Or we're gonna have obviously our Discord text chat, which I think will be good. We got a lot on our plate. I know Drex is probably chomping at the bit to add some sort of sexy UI that has a chat on the side.
Well, some emotes would be really sick.
I was literally just gonna say, give me like a middle finger emoji, and I can just post that up every time I click on it.
We're eventually gonna have emotes. It'll probably be like more of a season 2 next year kind of thing.
Sweet.
But we've thought like it'd be hilarious to let people like not flip the board, but say they flip the board.
That's great.
Idea. I love the idea of like this. I was just gonna say, I like the idea of like having a button where it just like you flip your board, like kind of when you give up. Like let's say you're done for the week and you're like, I give up, and it'll just say like, Drex has flipped the board.
That's awesome.
That's
or
fun.
like something that's like, you like when you're about to collect rent, and it's like you got to pay someone. It's like a hand comes in the middle of the screen. It's just like pay up, like that's really cool. I like this, man.
Well, we have a kind of a cool little feature. So our mascot, who you might have seen, Commander Cosmo, who's the little astronaut guy who's in the middle of our board.
In the middle,
anytime you gain Cardopoly dollars, whether someone lands on your property or you get a really cool community landing zone card that gives you money, he pops out of the screen and does a little dance. So
I did see that.
You kind of know when you're making some money in the game.
That's cool. I saw the flossing. Good stuff. I like that.
That's
Man,
awesome.
Cool, guys.
I do want to give a shout out to you, Bobby, for hooking us up and helping us out get our game piece. And who it was Dewey? Yeah. Dewey hooked us up and sold us a piece. So thank you very much to both of you. Devon, you got any more?
I do have a question. It's initially for Bobby, but then I feel bad. So Drexler, you can answer it too.
I'll be in Florida next year, so
okay. So Bobby, what's your favorite restaurant in Toronto or the GTA?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh shit!
What bar are we meeting at?
Yeah. Actually, where are we going? That's the question.
If we were gonna meet, because I know you guys are on the East End and I'm on the West End. Like, I really like Amsterdam down by the water.
Oh, I love it. It's so nice.
I love Amsterdam Brewery. I really like. There's a great Spanish place in the distillery. That's bomb. So anyways, there's a ton of good restaurants in Toronto. Amsterdam
is actually a great choice. I haven't been there in 2-3 years. It's right on the water. It's so when it opens up, the breeze is coming. It's the perfect patio to have a beer in. Drexler, you should come. Drexler's probably like, that's nothing. I live in Florida. Like, you have this. But also, Distillery District is pretty awesome. Drexler, what's your favorite restaurant in Toronto or the GTA?
Well,
okay, sorry.
He's Googling things right now.
Because I went to this one time in Vancouver. I went to this place called Elbow Room that I thought was really fun.
Okay, cool.
They yell at you there. It's like one of those restaurants where they're very mean to you. That's like their shtick.
Really?
That's the only restaurant in Canada that I know. So
that's actually
Elbow Room.
Cool. So when you're like order, they're like, can you hurry up? Like, are they?
Yeah, they will. They'll be like, what do you want? You know.
You know, that explains a lot, Drex, like how we work together. Like, you work faster when I yell at you.
He abuses me.
Work faster, you simp.
He just wants to go back to elbow room. That's cool. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, well, Drexler, you can come hang out. Just fly in.
Come have brunch with us.
Yeah,
I'd love to. I'd love it. Me and Bobby have been trying to get together forever. He's coming down to Florida pretty soon. It's going to be awesome. I plan on trying to get to as much community stuff as I can, especially with COVID being more in the rearview mirror a little bit, you know, more and more all the time. Definitely want to like start getting to some stuff. I wish I could have made it to Collision.
I keep asking everyone, see NFT Con? We going to see you guys there?
Yeah, so not this year, only because I have a newborn. I have a 4-month-old.
Strap them to you.
And I don't have permission this year. Also, our funding as a company isn't quite there in terms of getting there yet. But I envision next year that's something that we would love to attend. Drex and I both see a ton of value in showcasing the game and what we're doing at a booth at some sort of NFT event. So we're both aligned on that, and it's definitely something we're going to be looking forward to next year.
Awesome.
Cool. Love it. Well, guys, this has been really, really cool. I'm kind of blown away to all the game theory and strategy and how it's been built. And like, we let Drexler talk earlier on, and then we were like, nope, gotta stop that. He just like blew our minds.
I mean, I could go for hours, you know.
I mean, we ask him one question, he says some stuff. We're just like, cool. So how do you buy an NFT? Like, then we got so basic.
We definitely have to have you back on to do like a technical. We keep talking about like the back end. I know nothing about it. So it would be very interesting to talk about.
It's funny because, you know, I'm the same way, right? Like, but after hanging out with them and building this project together, like, he actually does a like super good job at explaining to us, you know,
talk to me like I'm a kindergarten kid.
You know, so he does a good job of explaining, but also like, you know, he just makes it fun. And I've learned a lot just working with them on this project. I've definitely become a lot more, not an expert, but I've definitely become a lot more in the know on Cardano and its back end functionality.
Nice. Super cool.
That's awesome.
Thanks, guys. Well, if you've made it this far, this is Bobby and Drexler from Cardopoly. I don't know, man. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
it was awesome. Thank you very much.
Go get your game piece off the secondary. Buy the Yeti.
We really appreciate you guys having us on. Honestly, great to meet you guys both on Zoom. Ryan, obviously great to meet you in person.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we can all get together at Amsterdam soon and crush a pint.
We'll zoom in Drexler.
Yeah, we'll just have him on the phone.
So let's just fucking fly him in.
Yeah,
there we go.
We'll do it. We'll make it happen. Thanks so much for having us, guys. It was awesome.
No problem. Javon, you playing the music?
I am, my friend. So you can do the outro.
That we're done. That's the outro.
The outro. That's how we
are finished. NFGs. We are out.
All right.